If there is a non-negotiable in my life, that would be my habits. These routines really help me feel better no matter how crazy my days become. And I'll be honest, all these are my non-negotiables. There are still days when I don't get to do all these habits because some days things just don't go as planned, and that's okay. But what I found is that when I do stick to them, even just a few of them, they make my days so much better. They help me feel more organized and even motivated to conquer my day. So today, I wanted to share some healthy habits I try to incorporate in my life, and maybe you can try to incorporate in yours too. At the start of every week, usually on Sundays, I do a weekly reset. Now before, I used to do such an extensive, thorough weekly reset, but I found that it made it harder to stick to the routine consistently. It started to feel overwhelming. It started to feel more of a burden. So since then, I've learned to narrow down my weekly reset routine into something that's much easier to maintain. I start off by cleaning my space. Dust easily piles up on surfaces in my room. I still have no idea why, so I try my best to clean that every week. I throw away trash that has been neglected, and I organize everything in their respective places. Seeing clutter in your space can be visually overwhelming, but once you have your physical space organized, you'd feel much more comfortable, you have less distractions around you, and you can focus better. Of course, just as important is organizing your digital spaces. I feel like this tends to be neglected more because you can't physically see clutter in your phones. They stay hidden until one day you just run out of storage. So to avoid that, I've implemented a weekly digital organization routine. I start with my phone. I delete unnecessary photos, screenshots, blurry photos, and also Apple has thankfully made it easier by making a folder dedicated for duplicate photos, so I just sort that out. I back up the remaining ones on my hard drive, then I delete the photos on my phone. I proceed to organizing my iPad, same thing with my phone, and then I organize my laptop. I delete files that aren't relevant to my tasks at hand. I organize the remaining files into their respective folders, and I make sure to back everything up on my hard drive. Once I have my physical and digital spaces organized, I review the past week. I create a brain dump of tasks I haven't finished. I take note of why I didn't accomplish them. Maybe I was procrastinating, being too unrealistic, or maybe I was saying yes to so many things. Once I know what didn't go well, I can adjust how I plan my week. I can adjust my workflow so I can make sure I will be able to accomplish my goals for the coming week. Once I finish my weekly reset and once I've made sure that I have a clean slate, I move on to planning the week. I know weekly planning can sometimes feel intimidating and just boring. I have to admit, I have skipped weekly planning a few times and I have tried to just wing it instead, but every time I do, it just ends up being way more chaotic than it needs to be. So every Sundays, I allocate a non-negotiable block of time for weekly planning. I've recently been using Akiflow for weekly planning, and can I just say, it just simplifies the entire process. It takes away that intimidating, overwhelming feeling around weekly planning because it hands you with all the tasks, events, and deadlines that you have so that you can focus on just allocating time for each of them. What makes it special is that it consolidates all your possible tasks from different apps through integrations. In my case, I have integrated my Gmail and Google Calendar, so if I get an email with a task to do, I can add it to Akiflow and it organizes it to my list of tasks. If I add an event or deadline on Google Calendar, it syncs back to Akiflow and vice versa. Once I have my emails and events sorted out, I can add all my tasks for my brain dump and allocate time for each, all within Akiflow. All my unorganized tasks are in the inbox, so then I sort each one by each area of my life, just so it's visually clear for me which area a specific task is for, and I simply drag and drop these tasks to schedule getting them done. This is important for me because I thrive by time blocking. If I don't schedule a specific time for a task, it's not gonna get done. I will even most likely forget it even existed in the first place. I've found that by time blocking my tasks, I lessen the decisions I make throughout the day. I have a clear plan, I know what to work on next, and I can visualize getting my deadlines done for the week, all without feeling stressed. Now, I don't use this because I already have my own workflow for weekly planning, but if you're still getting into the swing of things, Akiflow has rituals, which I really appreciate. You can use this either for planning in the morning or shutting down at night, and it basically guides you throughout the entire process of reviewing how your day went and even planning for tomorrow. I found Akiflow helpful and you might do too. So head over to the link in the description below, and students can get a 40% discount if you sign up now and use the code STUDENTFOCUS40. Now, once my weekly routines are done and I've got my week sorted out, only then can I move on to my daily habits. Really, my weekly habits are the pace setter for the rest of my week. If I don't get to reset or plan for the week, I find myself feeling anxious every day and my worries just begin to pile up, and that isn't a good foundation if I want a productive week. So I try my best to do my weekly routines first, just so I can set the tone for the entire week. Every morning, I do my morning routine. I make my bed, I organize my desk in case the previous night got so busy. I also try to get the early morning sun sun, which has been a rare occurrence lately because I've been waking up late. And then I prep for the day, which is what I like to call my morning tackle. Since I've already planned and time blocked my entire week, I already have a structure. And so what I do every morning is I just check my tasks for the day. I see if I have any unfinished tasks from the previous day, and I make adjustments to my schedule if necessary. I also respond to messages and emails just so I can get them out of the way and just so I can avoid ignoring them further. And then I'm ready to conquer my day. In the afternoon, I get my daily steps in, and this has been a no-fail habit, all thanks to my dog. Before, I just despised going out, but since having my dog who really loves the outdoors, I have since been forced to also go out every day. And I found that spending a few hours outdoors really takes away your mind from the chaos of studying or working and just refreshes your mind. So when I go back to my room, I am better prepared and ready to take on other tasks and study more. Throughout the day, I keep my water bottle near me. I realize that having my water bottle inside helps me unconsciously meet the daily recommended water intake and actually even exceed that. And this is actually one of the cues that James Clear has said to trigger habits. So according to James Clear, if you want to stick to a habit, there are 4 cues or triggers that you can use or implement. One is time, where you do a specific habit at a specific time. Second is a preceding event, where you do a habit right after another one. Third is your emotional state, where changes in your mood encourages you to do certain habits. And fourth is location, where your surroundings trigger habits. So keeping my water bottle near me at all times reminds me to stay hydrated throughout the day. At night, I start off my bedtime routine with journaling. I use the Day One app and I briefly narrate how my day went. Sometimes it gets out of hand. I end up writing a super long and detailed narrative, but I think that's fine. After all, I get to savor my happy moments and also acknowledge moments when maybe I felt down or anxious. I also write my 3 wins for the day, regardless of whether it's a small win or a big one, and 3 glimmers of the day, things that I'm grateful for. Over time, I've really enjoyed the process of journaling because I get to go over the best moments of my day. And also, I've noticed that journaling eases my worries, because you know when you get those thoughts right before going to bed, thoughts that just bother you and won't get out of your head no matter how much you try to shrug them off. So throughout the night, you end up overthinking about them. Well, when I journal, I realize that those thoughts aren't that scary and I can even process them better and even acknowledge how I feel about them better. I then finish the night by listening to a podcast. I know so many people say that you shouldn't use your phone right before going to bed, but I can't sleep without listening to a podcast, so forgive me. And that concludes my daily and weekly habits. Let me know your current list of daily and weekly habits in the comments below, and I'd love to read your responses. Thank you so much for sticking around, and I will see you guys in my next one.